I'll just stop at this phase here so you can see how this is starting to form. Nothing very fancy, it's just enough to tack. Now the top ones are not obviously on the tape, so it's just the netting, the matting of it that is holding it in place. But you get a sense of what it's going to look like as you see these sort of just going over the edge. Now they'll be formed and secured by the resin when we start putting the resin on this, and for that you're going to need several brushes that you can afford to dispose of in the process. I've mixed up just a small amount of resin and got an old brush, and I just dip it in, and I'm just dabbing the top so that it soaks through the resin and push any strands, loose strands, into the water. And I'm just trying to wet the top edge so that it holds it down besides what the tape's doing. The tape's only just doing it, hold it in place on the underside. So got to tease it a little bit, let it soak through, and you have to come back every so often and just do the same thing, just kind of reinforcing it. Keep in mind this is essentially a glass fiber, so be careful with the fingers, because it may end up feeling like you know, fiberglass insulation will do in house renovations. If you've done any of that, you got some of those fiberglass pieces in your hands. I'm just teasing it, wetting the top edge, and just to get it soaked, and press it down into the rock top, and just so that it secures, and then teasing it back upstream, just so that the fibers that are sticking up at the backside all lie down. And go back over the other as needed. Eventually you'll find whether you need more or less, and you just add it as needed. And get all those little fibers sticking down nice and flat. And then after that just sets for a little while. We want to make sure that these stay nice and solid and not move. And then you can start wetting the other ones down, and the base where it's on the rocks and so on, just wet the bottom. And horizontal strands of fiber, you got to draw them down and lock them in place. It takes a little bit of teasing, a little bit of work. Lots of loose fibers and so on, but what you do is you just bring them into the fray of things, and just push them down into the rocks and so on. We're going to cover a lot of that with that aquarium filter wool. So I want that one down in behind the rock, and you're using the brush essentially to mold the streaks of fibers. Just keep reworking it. That's why you want to have the lengths just a little longer than the height of the falls, because it gives you room at the bottom to secure them to the bottom of the falls. And you can push some up against the shallow ones that are not rushing fast over the water edge of the rocks. You can just press back into the face of the rock, and you're just going to draw this down, wetting it slowly. Now it takes a little bit of patience, sometimes a lot of patience, but you're going to just work it very gently. Everything's gentle in this hobby, isn't it? These first applications, the top and bottom, are just securing the top edge, the bottom edge, so you get that little spillaway. And then we can come back after and start teasing in the verticals, because these will be held in a little bit more firmly as the resin dries. Anything sticking up, press it down. You can see that's starting to shape. And what I like about this is it's very gentle and streaky, you know, and it's soft looking, like water flowing. It also is semi-transparent, so you can see through parts of it. It's not all opaque like a plastic might be. And you know, you can create, as you pull pieces together, you see what I'm doing here? So that starts to represent, I've split this, and it starts to look like a spillway. And this is what's going to create a more natural, interesting look. Some of them, of course, will be full width. You can see how the resin is starting to shape, and it has that glass-like look, sort of that wet look, and you can control the spillways like this. You can create little separations and draw them together, so the water comes like this and it draws down into a narrow base in the bottom, and starts to look starting to come along. As this starts to dry, use the back of your brush here just to kind of tease things and lift out the crown at the top. Any fibers you see, just push them back in. You do that just before this gets really set and hard, and you can do a little bit of teasing with this. And any other fibers that you don't like, that you can't do anything with, when this dries, they'll be rock hard, because essentially it's fiberglass, and you can nick those all off with a blade. And then the top edge, just tease it all back, push it back in. And good to get little separations like that, so it looks like the water's being divided. As it goes at a rock, it'll spill each way, and you get this type of thing happening. It makes it very realistic, and you can see this is almost a glass-like look. So, just like water, you can see through it, because it is wet-looking and semi-transparent.